Hi everyone, back in the shed for some more cider tasting and some more cheese today as well. Let's crack straight on with it. We've got some Keeved Cider, carrying on with the Somerset theme, and today we have this fellow. So this is from Pilton, as you can quite clearly see. So Martin Berkeley, based in Shepton Mallet. One of the main guys who's keeving in the country at the moment, actually. More people are starting to do it, but I think he was one of the first people who sort of got on the new wave of keeving. James Marsden at Greg's Pit is the other one that I would certainly mention. Both of them ciders I sell, both because I like Keeved Cider a lot and I like what they do. So yeah, so it's going to be residual sugar, have some residual apple sugar. It should be lower in alcohol. This is 5%, which may not sound that low, but I suspect the potential in these apples was to go more like to 6 or 7%, the amount of sugars that I've had in them. So yes, and that's so bottle conditioned, so it's going to have a finer mousse than say something that was forced carbonated. It's got the cork rather than the crown closure. I've got some cheese as well. Let's have a look at the cheese. So I went for some Somerset cheese, and to be honest, this is much more French in style than it is sort of, well, in contemporary culture you'd say this is the French method, but you know it's been done in Britain before. It just died out a bit. So really be thinking about things which come from north west France, so things like Camembert, as we talked about previously. But I've gone for something from Somerset, and why not? Because I think cider and cheese go really well together, particularly when you've got a bit of cheese like this. So this is, there you go, bit bright, bit bright, bit bright. There you go. That is a lump of cheddar, cloth bound cheddar. Look at the back there. See, natural rind, pretty cool looking thing. Nice. You can see the texture really well there. So that snappable, friable texture. You can see how the curds have fused together in the mould when the cheese has been made. This is Pitchfork cheddar. Gone back for some Pitchfork. Somerset Brothers, based about 5 miles outside of the town of Cheddar. Cloth bound, traditional rennet, old fashioned starter culture, so like yogurt style pint starters. They're rotating those, using 5 different ones, one for each different day of the Monday to Friday week, if you like. Been making it for 2 years and they're doing a really good job. This actual cheese is off a smaller round, so they do. The normal round is about 25 kilos, but at the end of each day's make, they might have some curd left over that isn't enough to make a full mould, so they'll make a smaller cheese. They call those Dunlops, which is like the Scottish style of cheddar making. It's a Dunlop, just for the half cheddars, basically. And they actually do make a big difference. It's a different texture, different flavour. So we'll talk about that when we try it. But let's take the cork out of this fella, shall we? Which way is it going to go? It's going to blow up? No, it's not going to blow up. Can I get the cork out at all? Maybe I can't even get the cork out. This is a different problem to the one I've had of late. Oh, there we go. It's coming out. Just need to get some grip. There we go. Cork is out. A little bit of gas coming out. Very gentle sparkle. Really gentle sparkle. Let's pour it in the glass, see what happens. See if we get a bit more mousse developing. Oh, something just blew off my shed. If you heard a crash. So, oh yeah, so there's definitely some carbonation in there. Nice mousse on that. Quite a nice colour. Quite a gentle colour actually. Where's my thingamajig? There it is. So that is gold with the slightest hint of amber, I would say. Lots of bubbles in though, quite fine bubbles. Mousse is gone already. Let's give it a sniff. Okay, this is a Keeved Cider. Baked apple, baked sugar, sort of tartar almost character, poached apple, apple pie filling, pastry, yeah, all the things you'd expect from a Keeved Cider. All the things I love about the smell of a Keeved Cider. Really good. Tiny hint of funk in the background. Merest hint. But yeah, really appealing on the nose for sure. Cheers. Okay. Solid tannins. Coating my teeth. Not as aggressively as some ciders we've had. It's got definitely a gentle squeakiness to them this time. Quite a bright acidity, quite a fresh acidity. Almost feels slightly malic, the acidity. Not as harsh as like a Granny Smith's greens, but there is like a bright acidity to this. Less of that lemony, rounded, yogurty acidity you get from lactic acid. I'm sure it probably is lactic acid in this, because this This has probably gone through malolactic fermentation, I would guess. Anything on here about the apples? Nothing about the blend. But yeah, delicate sweetness, not too sweet. Actually, the acidity of the sugar is quite nice. A lot of people would like this. You might find some of the French Keeved Cider is too sweet. They can be very sweet, depending on how much residual sugar is left in there. But this one is actually... yeah, very gentle. Acidity is there. Slight mineral character. It's a hint of apple skin as well. This is quite an appley cider for a Keeved cider. Less the nose is a little bit more of the baked character. On the mouth is much fresher, brighter. Okay, I think this will work well with this cheese. Let's cut a bit of our cheese off, shall we? So yeah, so this is off the smaller wheels. I think it's about 12 kilo. It's about pretty much half. I mean, they're not a fixed size because it depends how much residual curd they've got left over to fill a mould. Sometimes they'll have more, sometimes they'll have less. But it will age differently because cloth-bound cheeses lose moisture through the cloth. They're not hermetically sealed. If a cheese is losing moisture as it ages, it's losing weight, and cheeses are by weight, so that's money evaporating into the atmosphere. So mass-produced cheese will always be hermetically sealed in plastic to avoid that from happening. But a smaller cheese will lose even more weight because there's more surface to volume, therefore more surface area from which moisture to leach out of the cheese. So they can actually come on and taste older at a younger age. This is from June 2019. So you're looking at about 13 months. We're in July now, and in July 13 plus months, which for a half cheese, a small cheese, Dunlop, is actually probably getting to the right age profile I would have suggested. Let's try it. Let's have a smell first. Lovely, buttery, lactic, minerally, kind of sweet clotted cream element to it on the nose, I would suggest as well. Nice, let's try it. I've got some cheese in my beard. In my throat. So, this is denser paste than from the big cheeses, definitely. Lovely sort of crunch as your teeth meet, just a slight crunch. Quite a lot like what I got when I had the Manchego recently. There's a lovely little crunch just as your teeth met. There's some resistance, a little crunchiness. Not as crunchy as a crystal, but that was just a lovely little residual sort of resistance as your teeth met. Really good. Great salt. Salt is there. But it's all wrapped up with everything else. It's not a separate flavour, that's how we like it. Nice acidity, great butteriness. There's a kind of a junket kind of character to it, a savoury kind of a character to it, a brothy, bouillon, beefy character to it, I would suggest as well. Possibly erring into roast chicken flavour. Possibly, but it's definitely there. There's a long flavour as well, and that's good. What my old boss at Neil's Yard used to call a 10-mile cheese. So the Neil's Yard, he got and tried cheeses a lot, and select, particularly cheddars, do that a lot. And my old boss Randolph Hodgson, he had this thing where he said 10-mile cheese. So you taste it, you get in your car, you drive for 10 miles, and you'd still be going, that's really nice. That's a 10-mile cheese. And that's what you're looking for in great cheese. Not the initial whack, because industrial cheeses, what they tend to do is they throw in things like, they throw enzymes in, lipases to break down the fats, and that's what gives you the itchiness, the tingliness, the piquancy, and that makes up for a shortcome of flavour, which comes from pasteurising your milk, standardising your milk, homogenising milk, etc., etc., etc. This hasn't got an initial big whack. The immediate flavour is very pleasant indeed, but it still goes, and it's still going down, still enjoying it. And actually, I really like the rind. I like eating the bit just under the rind, because once the cloths come off, this rind is totally edible, and it picks up flavours from the mould that grow on the rind, and the moulds are indigenous to the maturing rooms. So if you're familiar with the maturing rooms in which these cheeses are made, when you eat the rind, it transports you straight to that maturing room. It's like being in the maturing room. It tastes like that maturing room smells. It's a great thing. It's like being in don't want to say a time machine. It's like being beamed Star Trek style to the actual cheese maturing room, which is brilliant. So I'm going to cut a little bit off with some rind. I'm going to have it with some of this cider. It's really good. And that rind's great. It's a little bit dry as well, because it dries out more from the edge first. So if you have it a bit closer to the rind, it's more concentrated, and you get the flavour of the rind as well. Really good. That is quite a pleasing pairing. That clean acidity, that brightness, those bubbles, really work with the fats. The acidity works with the acidity of the cheese. That hint of sugar works with the salt that's in there. Doing about 1.5% salt in there, but when it makes itself known, you know it's there, and it needs to be there. You know, it seasons it, brings out flavours, helps preserve the cheese. Very important ingredient, so, but you've got to get it just right. When I've got it just right, really good actually. Very, very nice indeed. I would suggest that this cheese could take a bolder cider. That is quite a delicate Keeved cider. Like I say, it doesn't have that big ta-ta-tan character. It's got the sugar very subtly, but it's got a brighter, more red apple acidity than I expect in a Keeved cider. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to keep this bit of cheese and try it with some other ciders from Somerset, because it's made in Somerset. Classic combination. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm going to pour a little bit more out of it, more of this out, like so. Comme ça. I'd like to say, I hope you enjoyed that. If you can get yourself some Pitchfork cheddar, get it. Have it with some Somerset ciders, because it's a classic pairing. Some, you know, spiritual home of cheddar is Somerset. One of the spiritual homes of cider is Somerset. You know, do they make great bedfellows? Okay, guys. Well, I hope you got something from that. I certainly did. That was very tasty. And yeah, please do join me again. But until then, cheers.